Hey, John. Welcome back, John. Lugia, hi. Jenny, hi. Salut Christian, ça roule? Qu'est-ce qu'il fait de beau? Ça roule impeccable, bah très bien. Hey Jenny, I'm okay. Hoodsie. Sure, buddy. Hey, don't never underestimate a grandma. Or even a mom with a slipper. Ouais, je suis français, je suis de Paris. Mais je suis aussi américain. Je suis au Texas, là. J'ai été expatrié depuis 95 à Los Angeles. Et puis en 2016, on a emménagé au Texas. Donc 95 à 2016, c'était Los Angeles. Et 2016, maintenant, c'est au Texas. Christian, non, ça va. Non, puis les voisins, ils sont gentils. Bon, je fais pas trop de bruit. Le soir, j'essaie de pas faire trop de bruit. Mais là, ça va, il est 7 h du soir, c'est encore assez tôt. Ouais, Christian, ouais. J'imagine il fait froid en France. Non, mais aujourd'hui, il faisait genre 30 degrés Celsius aujourd'hui. C'est la folie. All right. Oh. Okay. All right. I'm gonna start my timer and then put these guys on. All right. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Gotta go inside to start the timer. Christian, merci. Tu pars? Ah, tu vas faire dodo, d'accord. Bon, allez. Bonne nuit, Christian. That's my dog that you hear. Archer, come here, buddy. Come here. Oh, hey, Buster. Welcome back. 80 burpees, buddy. How about you show me yours, I'll show you mine, all right? Is that a deal, Buster? It's my 1 minute break right now. Oh, shit. The round sucks again. I don't know what you're looking at to say I don't have enough hip pivot on those crosses. I got plenty of hip pivot on those crosses. I don't have any power in it right now because that's intentional. I'm pulling on the punches. I'm adjusting the range so I'm not hitting the bag strongly, but I'm rotating the crap out of those hips. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, let's rotate it right here. So. All right, y'all, please don't pick fights with one another, okay? People are entitled to their different opinions. You might disagree with people's opinions. That's fine. Just go ahead and disagree. No need to make big arguments in the chat. All right. stop scrolling. Hey, the dog runner. Yeah, you're right on the jab. Like, I'm not moving my head on the jab. I try to move my head on the cross, though. So, that's something, right? But yeah, I'll so try to do a jab and move my head out of the way. Hey, the dog runner. Well, I appreciate the constructive feedback, dog runner. So the challenge I have is that on my phone right now I can only read like the last 5 lines without taking my gloves off and like scrolling up. So I can't do that in my 1-minute break. So I try to catch your feedback whenever you put it, but sometimes it just scrolls away. So Okay, probing stop on jab would be nice to see, like Reply said. Okay, not sure what the probing stop is, sorry. I'll have to look it up. Please forgive my ignorance. Why am I boxing into my kitchen? I mean my backyard. One step on jab, okay. Probing step, okay. Ugh. So like, Next reply. Thanks, buddy. Oh, shit. Here we go. Ah. Hey, dog runner. I don't got 10 burpees in me. Yeah, I should get water. I'm getting kind of dry. Oh. be right back. Gotta get some water. Oh, hey. Bo. Thanks, buddy. Uh, I've got 11 rounds down, 5 rounds to go. Starting round 12 right now. All right, that was round 12. I have 4 rounds to go. Has anybody subscribed? I'm getting tired. Yeah, like I said, I can only read the last 5, 6 lines. Oh. All right, that was round 13. I have 3 rounds left. I got 24 likes. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to do so. I try to do these things every day. I had to skip a couple of days this week because work got out of hand, but shit. There we go. Okay. So in my headphones, I usually listen to movies. Right now I'm listening to Bad Boys 2, Jerry Bruckheimer movie with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. So I'm listening to this, and I also have my sports timer also running on the laptop, which gives me the audio cues. And then I also look at the laptop in the window to see the timer. All right, that was round 15. I have one last round left. Has anybody subscribed yet? I need to work on my footwork. Yeah, roger that. Yeah, but I'm also 15 rounds in, so after working out for over an hour and a half, I just don't have all that much legs left to do any kind of decent footwork. So but I hear you though. Oh. Footwork is definitely one of the many things that I need to improve. Definitely. Oh, 116 started, but I got 5. Footwork, footwork, bam. Footwork, footwork, footwork. Yeah, I got nothing left. All right. All done. That was 16 rounds of 3 minutes each with a 1 minute break. Yep, that's all sweat. All right. An hour, 40 minutes, 1150 active calories, 1150 active calories, and then my heart rate is down to 107. Here we go. Oh my God. Oops. Hey, Buster. To each your own, buddy. I finally got my glasses on, so now I can actually read the chat. Hey, John. Take good care, good buddy. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. Did you subscribe, by the way? All right. Nice. Take care, man. I'll keep this stream going for about this long. But hey, Buster, at least you and I are still here, right? Yeah. I'll tell you all the secrets, Buster. What do you want to know? Buster has a point here. No, it's funny. Like I was raised Catholic myself back in France. I for the longest time I sort of believed in a higher power. Sort of, kind of do, but with like a fat grain of salt, basically. You know. Um, what I don't like about religion is that it's often weaponized to restrict the rights of some people, to persecute some people because of some arbitrary interpretations of what some supposed scriptures said about what is or is not moral. And then you turn around and then you find the rights of, gay people being restricted because some people who think they're religious decided that it's not good. And 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 when you're doing that, you're just going against humanity, really. And so I found that people use religion to surrender accountability to themselves and accountability to their fellow men, um, and hide behind religion to make sense of the things that they don't want to understand, things that are different from them. So they'll just kind of hide behind religion to say that, oh, these things should not be. So, of course, I've seen a lot of really good come out of religion, and that's good. I appreciate people who, you know, every day try to help their fellow men in the name of religion, and that's good. But there's an equal amount of people who do the exact opposite of that. Um, and so, when people come out and they're like, you know, have you put your faith in Jesus? I'm like, just I, keep that away from me. So I try to do good to people around me and be good to people. I don't need religion to kind of govern my morals, basically. Uh, and I think, like, to each their own. I think it should be perfectly fine to, you know, not believe in any kind of mainstream sense of like Judeo-Christian frame of religious belief, and you could believe in all kinds of higher powers, and Native Americans, believe have their own sort of frames of beliefs, and you know I I think people should just kind of have should be free to exist in whatever they feel like embracing. But hey, Buster, you wanted to know more about me? Well, you just got my perspective on religion. Hey, Buster, I got all of 4 viewers right now. I know. I think in general, people need to keep an open mind. I think, hey, Buster, yeah, it's going up and down. So,
Flat or globe? Jesus fuck. Okay. Globe. Oh my god. It's funny. I watched this documentary on the flat earthers. Hey Dominic, how you doing? So I forgot. I think it was on Netflix, a documentary on flat earthers, and it's pretty cool because like a couple of them wanted to try to prove that the Earth was flat, and so they go about setting up this experiment where they shoot a laser over a long distance, and and it, and at the very end of the documentary, they're actually kind of proving that the Earth is not flat with that experiment, and then the documentary just kind of cuts short. Um, but it was pretty cool that at least a couple of them were willing to try and follow some kind of scientific process to to try to prove their theory. I think there is a lot of value in sort of following a scientific process and trying to prove or disprove things about the world. And hey Clay, yeah. But that's sort of an indictment of our educational system. Um, and this is kind of why a large part of me does fear religion because um, when religion starts to encroach into education, now you're like teaching kids as fact that the Earth is 2,000 years old, which is it's absolutely just beyond crazy, right? And so like you're starting to assert things as fact based on religious beliefs, and you're raising generation of kids to think that way. And then some of these kids start to get elected to Congress eventually when they become adults, and these people start to make laws anchored in religious beliefs, and then eventually those laws pass, and you end up with a really sort of really quickly in a very dystopian reality. Oh my God. Hey Lloyd, I uh, I don't have good advice for you, buddy. Drink water. I Yeah, and so the thing with the whole flat earthers movement is that a large part of them try to invoke scientific principles to try to prove that the earth is flat, but they don't know anything about geometry, physics, astrophysics, geology, and any of these sort of foundational scientific disciplines that have been around for a long time, um, which will allow you to establish the base of knowledge to come to the realization that you should come to. And so they just ignore that, and they just grasp to like bits and pieces of pseudoscience that was sort of given to them by fellow flat earthers who just don't know any better either. And they're just kind of reinforcing in this bubble. And it's, but there's a lot of that going on, not just for flat earthing, but just, uh, you know, all kinds of subjects. So, hey, Lloyd, good buddy. Try to make good choices. When you're in your 20s, you have massive opportunities to make really good choices that will pay dividends for you later in life. Conversely, if you make a few bad choices now, this will bring like compounding debt on just nefarious consequences in life, uh, well into your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s. So you've got many opportunities to make the right choices now. I recommend that you consider doing those. Um, for what it's worth. What do I know? I'm just an old guy, right? I'm 48, buddy. I'm old. But hey, I'm still hanging in there. So Hey Lloyd, for what it's worth, we do live in pretty amazing times. So we're unleashing new boundaries in technological advancement, which are pretty amazing. Um, and I think that there's just going to be a lot more ways to make a living that are going to be accessible to a whole lot more people. Um, Back in the day, to to have any kind of success in life, you had to follow a very narrow curriculum. Um, Now there are just a lot more opportunities to just make a decent life for yourself. I'm not saying that there are not many more challenges as well. Like, I think that's fair, but um, there's just a lot of opportunities out there. So I think it's it's good to kind of keep that in mind. I mean, it's pretty amazing that now these days you can pretty much do so much with just your phone. You know, you can connect with people around the world. You have access to all the information in the world with just your phone, a tablet, a laptop, anything that you want to learn about anything. I mean, literally, you could just, you know, spend days and nights just on Wikipedia and just learn about anything, really. Now you can go on GPT and ask anything about anything, really, and you'll get some pretty insightful answers. You can learn about any discipline, any scientific subject. Um, you have all this information at your fingertips. You know, my early 20s were difficult. So that's the good news, Lloyd, is that you're not alone in living through the challenges of the formative years of being a young adult. Like, I do think it's difficult for everybody. Um, when I moved to Los Angeles, and when I was 19 years old, I knew nobody. Um, I was really awkward. Um, and it was very difficult for me to make friends. Um, and some of the first friends I made were online. So back in the early 90s, there was not social media like you know it today, where you can meet people, or those dating apps or whatever. But uh, in the mid 90s, like, there was this thing called the Internet Relay Chat, IRC. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that. If you look up Internet Relay Chat, you'll learn about that. And I actually met a good amount of people. Some of them were actually in the LA area, and I met up with them in real life, and we became friends. And so those were some of my first few friends. But it was just kind of awkward for me to just kind of meet people. So, like, I do think it's difficult for everybody, regardless of what generation you're in. Um, but I think it's more accessible now to more people nowadays with just all the technology that's available to you. So now I guess you got all those dating apps. You can just like swipe or whatever people do. Yeah, Lord, a thing that I kind of learned pretty early on in life is to become. I'm not saying it was difficult, but I learned to become comfortable with being uncomfortable and being in situations where I don't know what's going on. I don't know how I'm going to adapt, but I just kind of develop the ability to ask myself, okay, well, what's the next question that I should ask? Okay, so what's the next challenge that I should try to solve? Okay, and just do like one little thing at a time, and then move on to the next question, and then move on to the next question, and it's just a way of like troubleshooting your way through life, which this mindset actually kind of helped me a lot when I started my career in software engineering. Because like you kind of follow very similar process and kind of learning the craft of software engineering and then kind of building systems, and you run into a hurdle and another hurdle, and you're like, what is going on? And it's kind of like, okay, what's the first thing that I should be asking myself right now, and just try to track that down. So it's it's a very valuable muscle to train, this ability to deal with and embrace discomfort for what it's worth. Like for me, it's definitely paid off, and and I felt that very early on in 19 years old, 20 years old, my 20s. Like it was pretty painful, but I overcame a lot of this awkwardness, and the muscles that I developed in that process, the kind of mindset muscles, um, helped me throughout the rest of my life and my career. So. Dude, nobody wants to be back in the 60s, man. So yeah, Lloyd, just all this to say that the challenges you face now are actually good for you to face now, this early in life. And if you make a point of overcoming them now, the mindset that you'll develop in the process of overcoming them will pay many good dividends for you later in life. So, again, for what it's worth, coming from an old guy who was a really awkward 20 years old. Until when was I awkward? Um, I think by the time I was 25, I was pretty well settled. And I was doing okay the couple years leading up to that. I made some marked improvements. Let's see, 95, 18. Yeah. In the Dominic, yeah, I hit the bag today. Yeah, I did my Dominic. I did my usual hour, 40-minute workout. Yeah, buddy, I'm staying on. I'm staying on it every day. I did skip Wednesday and Thursday this week, just because I was doing a lot of work. So I was like doing my normal 8 to 5, 8 to 6 work day, and then continuing to work well into the evening and well into the night. So I just got a couple major deadlines that I'm trying to meet. So, but yeah, Dominic, I do an hour 40 minutes every day. So yeah, well, Lloyd, like I said, the main thing is realize that you have the opportunity to make good choices going forward. Okay, so the main thing is, you stay mindful of what's good and what's not good for you, and going forward. All right, like, no need to dwell on the past, but going forward, you just, you know mm, try to do the right thing. All right, like, there's just invest in your health every day. Believe me, you'll thank yourself once you get my age. So I never did that myself, um, but I've always overindulged on eating, for sure. I've spent the better part of my adult life being severely obese, and you know, since my 40s, and now I'm getting close to my 50s. I'm trying to turn that around, but it's a lot harder to do when you spend the better part of your adult life making wrong choices when it comes to eating, right? So the same goes with everything, whether it's whatever you're doing now or other things. You know, if you make the right choices, it pays dividends down the line. Otherwise, it just it becomes extremely difficult to overcome. So yeah, Lloyd, buddy, you got this. All right, just don't dwell on the past. Just think forward. Invest in yourself. All right, just every good choice that you make going forward is like putting money in the bank, and it'll just pay interest over for you. Okay. Hey, Rands. You mean Heisenberg? Lloyd, buddy. Yeah, I know. I only made it through the first 2 or 3 seasons of Breaking Bad. I've been meaning to get back into it. Like I dropped just before like his ex-wife like learned about his extracurricular activities. But yeah, that was a good show. The actor who played Jesse, what was his name? I forgot. Anyway, he was in Need for Speed, that movie about driving, based on the video game. That was actually a good movie. Amazing stunts, like the cars, and holy crap, that was really amazing. Oh, Aaron Paul, that's right. Yeah, yeah, I think it's Aaron Paul. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's a good actor. You know, he's got some range. Oh, hey Amy, what up? Mm. Oh, Amy, thanks. It's just a cigar. All right. Lloyd, that's okay. No, I'm not gonna ban anybody for that. Goodness. Yeah, Amy's right. No, absolutely. No, I do these rarely, so like I'll have one like maybe once a month. So I bought this guy last week, and so I was kind of saving it, and so I figured tonight would be a good night to have it. Hey Lloyd, yeah, you take good care, buddy. All right. You know, drink water, get some good sleep. Amy, just kind of hanging out. So I had a good workout. So when I'm done with this, I'll gotta do a little bit of work tonight. So so what's everybody up to tonight? Dominic, that's good. How good was it? Dominic, that's good. What movie did you see? I saw there was a movie out. I want to check out. I think it's Flight Risk. Has anybody seen that? Eugene, no, I'm not. It's a cigar. It's a Rocky Patel. Amy, do you go by Amir? Triple Stanley Cup winning Dingleberry Zaza. Okay. Those are certainly all words. Oh, speaking of Stanley Cup. Oh, Dominic, so you did see a Flight Risk. Okay, cool. How was it? Because I want to see it. At least I wanted to see it. Hey, Buster. Hey, Stinky. Well, that sounds like a good time. So, Dominic, was the movie good or what? Hey, Gary. Your spare parts, buddy. Wrong stream. Dominic, 10 out of 10. All right, well, based on that recommendation alone, I may have to go check it out. Hey, Jay, welcome back. It's funny. If I had $1 for every time somebody called me Walter White on this stream, I'd be rich. Oh, hey Jay, yeah, yeah, I heard the UFC was tonight. At what time is the UFC starting? Buster, I think I saw that one, Hank, but who's Hank? The other day, somebody called me Thanos. I thought that was funny. Oh, Hank McCoy, the in X-Men, right? Stream East. Hmm. Hank McCoy, yeah. He's like the beast guy. Hey Jay, I told you to do that? No. Hey Melon. $8:30, is that 8:30 Pacific time? Cent Oh, Jay, okay. All right. I guess it's all a blur. Mm. Oh yeah, I think I remember. Dominic Toretto. Now that's Jay. No, I've never had to. So I've never been in a fight with anybody, and I don't ever intend to be. I don't. This is not something I seek, and I hope to never have to. So I don't really. I I don't get it in people's faces. I'm just you know, jovial guy. Yeah, Jay, it's funny. Like, I don't even do this for self-defense. I mean, it's you know, if knowing how to throw some kicks and some punches, it's good, you know. But yeah, if somebody takes me down to the floor, like I don't know jujitsu, right? So I don't. There's really not much I can do there. But in any case, you know, people don't seek trouble from me, and I don't seek trouble from people. So, but yeah, for me, it's just cardiovascular exercise. That's really the only reason I do this. So, some people like to go jogging, like to go running, and I used to do it for a while. I had a period where I would run like 5 to 6 miles every day, um, but I just kind of hated doing it pretty quickly. I got bored with it. For me, running is just unbelievably boring, and so working the bag every day is just, for me, it's more fun. And so, the key to try to be consistent with exercise is to find something that you enjoy doing. And so for me, that's kind of the, yeah, I have a lot of friends who do jujitsu, including the gym that I belong to. A lot of really, good people who are kind of amazing practitioners at this. And I just never kind of sought it out. It's just rolling on the floor with somebody is, for me, it's just not my idea of fun. So I get it that it's a very valuable kind of self-defense technique. I get it. It's just not something I'm interested in doing. So, but I definitely, I enjoy watching the fights in the UFC and kind of seeing these people, um, you know, just going through rounds of 5 minutes and just tapping into such a wide array of disciplines, right? Like the striking arts and the grappling arts, and kind of putting all together to try to subdue an opponent. The amount of like real-time problem solving that these guys are doing, it's really amazing, to see what they can do. Um, but yeah, for me, hitting the yeah, Jay, you're right. Like, hitting the bag is good cardio for me. So, wow, Dior, my condolences. Holy crap, so sorry. That's, oh man. Yeah, I have two teenage daughters, and that stuff keeps me up at nights. It's There's a lot of bad stuff out there in the world. Jay, no, I don't. I don't have one. Hey, Dior, uh, good for you, buddy. But yeah, that has to be tough, man. Holy crap. So sorry for you. I hope you'll be all right. I used to go fishing when I was a kid. I enjoyed it a lot. It was nice. I'm also a scuba diver, but I haven't gone diving in a long time. Um, I've gone diving a couple times in one of the lakes here in Austin. It was pretty all right, but it's just the visibility, like lake diving in Texas is the visibility is pretty terrible. Ugh. I've done most of my diving in Southern California. That's where I did. That's where I learned how to dive for the most part, and I racked up a lot of dives in SoCal. Then when I moved to Texas in 2016, it was a whole lot less of that for sure. Um, Jay, out here I saw some catfish, really big catfish. That's like the thing here. Yeah, I live in Texas. Yeah, I'm in Austin, Texas. So there's not too far from here. There's a couple lakes, Lake Austin. You already went diving in Japan. That's that's awesome. Wow. So in 2016, I went on. Jay, no, I don't. I moved to Austin back in 2016 for work, and also to be closer to my wife's family. So it's nice because they live about a 3-hour drive from here, so it allows us to be closer to them, and it's been really nice. Um, so back in 2016, my job relocated us from LA to Austin. We kept our house back in LA, and we rent it out, so it pays that mortgage, so it's nice. Eventually we'd like to move back there because we do miss, you know, we do miss LA. So I don't miss the state income tax, and I don't miss the traffic for sure, but I do miss the beach living. I still have all my best friends, best buddies back out there in LA. So I do a trip back there every year, and I hang out with them. Fullerton, Fullerton. That's cool. You know Hermosa Beach? Our house is back in Hermosa. Yeah, Jay, you're definitely right there. Yeah, so we miss Hermosa. We definitely want to move back there. So, out here we're gonna get our girls through high school out here, and then we will reevaluate to see if we can move back to LA. So, yeah, I mean that's the thing about SoCal. The weather is pretty much awesome, all year long. So it's pretty sick, man. Yeah. No, Hermosa Beach is an amazing place to live. That beach lifestyle, awesome weather, can't beat that. You know, when we moved to when we moved to Austin back in 2016, it was something to adapt to the weather here in Texas. In 2024, like in Austin, we had over 100 days over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's pretty painful out here. Jay. Yeah, it broke my heart to see all the fires in LA. It was just, I have some good friends who lost their houses in the Eaton fires. One of them, one of my other friends also lost their house in Pacific Palisades. That was really heartbreaking. Dior, I don't know that I believe in that, but I do believe in, messing around and finding out for sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know about karma or any, you know, existence thing. I do believe that actions do have consequences. So whether they're immediate or later, you know. Dior, I can't imagine can't even begin to imagine the pain you're feeling right now. So I definitely empathize, buddy. Like, it's just, I, you know, I hope you'll be okay, man. It's, when I try to wrap my head around sort of what you're feeling, it kills me, and I hope you're gonna be all right, man. You know. as far as karma goes, man, like, you know, he'll get what's coming to him. You know, like it's the justice system will take care of it. So. Jay, that question is loaded for me. So I do believe in a higher power, um, but nothing as specific as your typical sort of mainstream religious beliefs, I guess. And I've gone back and forth as well. Like it's something I've had to reevaluate many times. Um, and I got to a point where I try to focus my sort of mental energy into the things that can actually impact the people around me in a positive way, and just kind of, for me, sort of hiding behind religious beliefs is not something that is the most effective use of my time, and trying to bring about better things in the world, I guess. I think that there's just a lot of things that I can do every day to just make this place better for the people around me. And I don't feel the need to have this anchored in a specific religious belief to make that happen. I guess that's sort of, where I am. I've had sort of anyway. Yeah, I guess that's the best way I can put it. I think that I've had a lot of really good luck in my life, and I think that there might have been, and I've used sort of spirituality as a way to be grateful for this luck, I guess. Um, yeah, I guess for me it comes down to a more nondescript form of spirituality, I guess. Jay, yeah, I mean, you might have a point there, you know. You definitely might have a point there. Hey Jay, um, yeah, some advice. What major are you graduating from? What degree? Psychology. Okay, that's cool. You want to practice in any kind of field specific to that? I guess psychiatry or psychology is actually interesting because it if you look at marketing, a lot of what effective marketing is anchored in psychology for sure. Like, I think there's just a lot of applications to understanding how people think and kind of what makes them act the way they do. And I think that's a really interesting foundation to have because it can really, even if you don't go into a specific field related to psychology, I think understanding of human psychology and has many applications across a very broad range of fields. If you're a lawyer, psychology will help you a lot. If you're in marketing, psychology will help you a lot. But even just kind of navigating, uh, you know, corporate politics, um, you know, knowing how to influence people. I think there's just a lot of interesting applications there. So um, I think that I would keep uh, an eye open to a broad range of professional disciplines. Um, keep your living expenses low. Try to get a decent job. Get your foot in the door somewhere. Jay, yeah, exactly, yeah. So um, one of the best things that I did for myself when I started working in the corporate world was to, like in my early 20s, I started contributing to my 401k, right? So, like, most corporations um, have some kind of 401k, you know, benefit where it's like pre-tax money that you put aside for retirement, and most companies will contribute a percentage matching the percentage that you put in, right? So, like in most cases, I think you can put up to, like, 20% of your paycheck in your 401k, something like that. Um, Obviously, most people can't afford to put that much on your paycheck or their 401k, but um, many companies will contribute up to like 3, 4, 6%, right? So if you put, let's say, 6% of your paycheck in your 401k, the corporation you work for might also put an additional 6%, matching in your 401k as well. So I would at least match the percentage that the company will contribute, right? So if a company will contribute 4% to your 401k, then put 4% of your paycheck into your 401k, and then let the company contribute their additional 4%, right? This way, you'll make the most out of that benefit. And then beyond that, you should open a Roth IRA account. So basically, if you look at your paycheck, you can put, let's say you put 4% of your before tax money into your 401k, and then the company that you work for puts an additional 4% in your 401k. So you're putting some money aside there, and then beyond that, you can also have a Roth IRA account, and you should also try to contribute as much money as you can, but that money is after tax, right? So you put money in your Roth IRA after tax, and the nice thing is once you invest it in your Roth IRA, like all the money that you go in there will compound growth, tax-free, while it's there, and then uh, later on you can also tap into that. So you can help your retirement on two fronts: one with the 401k from your company, and then two from a personal Roth IRA. And you should try to leverage both, because when you're young, that's the greatest asset that you've got going for yourself. It's time and compounding interest over time. Believe me, like it's gonna pay off like a lot. Um, yeah. So yeah, do some research on that. Um, and So that's kind of the first buckets. You should try to put some money aside, but you should also grow an emergency fund with like 6 months of living expenses, at least. But I'd say 6 months of living expenses is a good thing to aim for, and it's going to take time for you to build that out, especially when you're just starting. You're not going to be able to contribute a whole lot of money to your 401k, to your Roth IRA, but start with a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there. And then the third account that you want to look at is a high yield savings account, HYSA. So look up HYSA, high yield savings account. I have mine with Capital One. They started out, usually HYSAs are supposed to be like 4.5% interest, but like they've been going down, so it's a little bit of a fluctuating rate. Now it's more like 3.8%, which kind of sucks. But if you shop around for high yield savings account, try to find one that'll be 4% and above. The most I've seen on HYSA is like 5%, but those are pretty rare these days. 4.5%, those used to be pretty common, but nah, they're pretty rare. So like most HYSAs I've seen right now are between 3 and 4%, which is still good. So the key is over time, put some of your money at every paycheck. Again, start with like $100, right? So try to put a couple $100 on every paycheck on your 401k, and then also on your Roth IRA, and then maybe $100 here, $100 there at every paycheck in your HYSA. Just kind of build it up over time. So when you have, once you start building up 6 months of living expenses in your HYSA, at least you have a pretty good cushion there, so that if you get laid off or whatever, you need to change jobs, or you work at some company and it ends up being a toxic culture, it kind of gives you options to go shop somewhere else. I mean, you should obviously avoid quitting a job before you have something else lined up, for sure. But things happen, so you definitely want to have some money aside, and I recommend like a solid 6 months there. Uh, Jay, you'll have to look it up. But like with the Roth IRA, you can actually take the money. If you need the money from your Roth IRA, you can take the money that you contributed into it at any time, right? So even before you're 59. So if you take the money that grew from it, so you don't want to take that, because that'll be a taxable event. But let's say if you put 20 bucks in your Roth IRA, let's say you put 100 bucks in your Roth IRA, and then from the interest, like from your investment, it grows to 120 bucks. Well, before you're 59, you can still take the 100 bucks that you contributed to your Roth IRA. You don't want to take the 20 bucks that you accrued, because that's going to be taxable, um, something like that. But you definitely want to just look it up, read up on it. But it'll give you a good amount of options there. So but yeah, like, so 401k, Roth IRA, and high yield savings account. Try to have those three things in play, and yeah, try to contribute to all three of them. So whatever you put in your high yield savings account is always available to you for any reason, right? So you can if you have an emergency or whatever, you can just take money. Or if you need to make a down payment on a car, you can pull money from your HYSA like right away. So yeah, dude, compound interest. I mean, that's the thing about compound interest. It will play in your favor on your 401k, on your Roth IRA, and your HYSA. Like compound interest works on all three of them. So yeah, work that angle. So I never did the Roth IRA, um, but I did do the 401k, and it's it's good. Yeah, well, that's funny because, like, I wish like people had told me that back when I was in my 20s. So I knew about the 401k right away, and I made the most of it, and so that's been good for me. But I never really studied Roth IRAs up until the last couple of years ago, and I can't do Roth IRA now because I make too much money. So when you reach a certain level of income, you're not really allowed to put money in Roth IRA anymore. Um, there's like a way to backdoor your way into it. It's just that seems just too risky. Um, if the tax codes change, you could get screwed over. So I'd be careful with that. But like when you're early in your career, like believe me, you'll be happy that you put a ton of money in your Roth IRA, man. So and nobody really told me about high yield savings account either. I didn't even know that was a thing up until like last year. Really, it's really sad. So, oh well. Um, but yeah, 401k, Roth IRA, high yield savings account, and then beyond that, you can get like a stock brokerage account to buy stocks. Um, that's another way to grow money. So that would be like the fourth account that you could open up. It's like a stock trading account. But for those, I would stay away from playing the stock market, like trying to buy individual companies. I would look into ETFs. So I've actually done that. So um, last year I put a bunch of money into various ETFs, exchange trading funds. I don't know what. Anyway, look up ETFs. So there's a lot of different ticker symbols that are ETFs. Um, the most popular one, and it's like I have a bunch of money in that one. It's called VOO. It's like a Vanguard. ETF, and most financial analysts I've seen, that's kind of what they recommend, and I put a good amount of money into that, like last year, and it's been doing really well. So an ETF is it's like a share of a stock that's diversified, right? So it's diversified across the entire S&P 500 index. It pretty much tracks the S&P 500. Um, so uh, that's what that VOO ticker symbol is. So VOO pretty much tracks the S&P 500, and so over time, as you buy shares of those, it's automatically diversified for you, right? So you don't need to worry about building your own diversified portfolio of companies yourself. You can just buy shares in an ETF, and it's kind of diversified for you, and you just kind of invest that way. Yeah, no, they don't teach any of that stuff in school, and so I'm yeah, catching up from way behind. So I'm definitely, I got two teenage daughters, and I'm definitely going to be setting them up with all this stuff as early as I can for them. But yeah, look up the stock ticker VOO, and there's a bunch more ETFs as well that you can look at. Um, so. But yeah, that would be the fourth account, right? Number one, 401k. Number two, Roth IRA. Number three, high yield savings account. And then number four, some kind of stock trading account. Um, and then when on number four, try to focus on ETFs, um, like VOO, and then you can look up other, ETFs as well. Hey Beverly, what an absolutely random thing to say. Okay. But yeah, Jay. So did you take notes, Jay? Oh, looks like I lost most people. Jay, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, yeah, that's why they're so interesting. It's because it's automatically diversified for you, right? And so you're really not investing to try to do like crazy day trading stuff, and you're constantly buying and selling and buying and selling. Like, most experts will say, don't even bother with that stuff, um, because like you will end up losing a lot of money. Like, a lot of people have learned this the hard way. So, um, but with ETFs, you just, every month you just try to buy a couple shares of VOO here and there. I mean, VO is pretty expensive, but you know, you know, save up $100 every month, and then when you got $500, just buy a share of VOO, right? I think you can even buy fractional shares now. I forgot, but and you don't worry about like timing the market. You know, you just buy the shares and you hold on to them for basically ever. You know, you hold on to them forever, and you just, you know, the market's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, but like directionally, you know, the market has historically always just kind of gone up, right? If you look at the S&P 500, you know, you'll see the, there you go, Jay, there you go. You got it. Yeah, the high yield savings account is for your emergency fund. Jay, yeah, I actually do use Robinhood. I have the Robinhood app on my phone, and so whenever I have some money to spare, you know, I'll just sprinkle the money across a few ETFs, and you know, just build up my portfolio over time. So but yeah, that's funny. I actually do use Robinhood, but obviously there's just many other kind of, you know, stock trading platforms or whatever. So but yeah, believe me, man, like if you make these moves like right now in your 20s and you just kind of stash that money away, um, you know, just, and you just let it grow over time, man, and just kind of keep contributing to it, you'll be shocked as just kind of how much it'll pay off for you as soon as you get, you know, into your 30s, into your 40s, into your 50s, and just kind of well into retirement. So Jay, no, I appreciate it. And no, believe me, I mean, you're right, right? I mean, it's uh, it's a good move, right? You know, you got people who've been around for a while, and then, you know, we've learned things the hard way, and you know, it makes absolute sense to just kind of tap into the collective knowledge that's out there. You know, yeah, research all that stuff, dude. You know, it's none of this is like a, you know, get rich quick, you know, scheme. It's just it's a long game. It's a long game, but if you play it right, like you could be set. You know, by the time you get to your 50s, you could be like really, really well set. So, and even earlier than that. So, but yeah, like like for me, you know, back in my 20s, one of the really good moves I did was I was able to get into real estate. Um, I was able to kind of make an interesting move on the internet and get a decent bag of cash, and I used it as a down payment in a house in our house in Hermosa Beach, basically, and that's been great, right? And that was the advice that I got from my dad, who's still around, by the way. Um, you know, he was like, son, you know, get into Southern California real estate as soon as you can. And I listened to his advice, and it definitely it definitely helped. So It's just that nowadays, like real estate is pretty insane. Like everywhere you go, like back in the day, you did not have to have a 20% down payment on a house. Um, um, Now, like if you try to buy a house with less than 20% down payment, then you have to pay mortgage insurance on it, which is absolutely terrible. Like it's an awful waste of money, but that's sort of what people have to do these days to kind of buy a house. And so I don't have any great advice right now to get into real estate because it's just like really, really expensive everywhere you go. So hold on, I'll be right back. You okay? Yeah. Hold on. My phone's about to die. Oh, my battery charger is dead. Bro. Where's my backup charger? Damn it. Hold on, be right back. Hold on. Come on, please. Here you go. But yeah, real estate is interesting because depending on where you live, you gotta, wherever you look at buying a house, you gotta pay attention to property taxes. So, like so back in LA at our house, um, we California had this proposition a long time ago that kind of once you buy a house, the property tax can only go up like a small percentage every year, right? No matter how the property values grow around you, right? Um, your property tax on your house in California can only go up a small percentage every year, right? And the reason they passed that law decades ago was to avoid people being priced out of their home, right? Because you got people who bought a home, let's say in the 80s or the 90s, right? And then property values, and maybe their home was like $200,000 when they bought it, and now everything around them is like a million bucks, for example, right? Well, without that law, you would have to pay property tax like on the $1 million instead of like $200,000, for example. But since they passed that proposition decades ago back in California, you're pretty much always going to pay tax on a small increment over that $200,000 every year, even if the house values around you go like haywire, right? So that's kind of why, if you're able to get into California real estate at a decent time, then it does become a pretty, really, solid investment, because you're not getting slaughtered on property tax when the value of your home, you know, doubles and triples and quadruples, over many years. So, but if you go in a state like Texas, like where we are right now, uh, it's pretty brutal. So like, when the property values go up around you, like your property tax on your home go way up. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what's up with Karate Kid, but so yeah, real estate is challenging. Well, I bought my home back in 2000, so I was 24. But I got lucky because what happened is, like, in the mid 90s, I had bought a couple domain names. One of them was called, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you the domain name, but I bought a couple domain names, and I was able to sell three of them as a bundle, uh, to to a pretty famous wealthy guy. Um, anyway, and so that got me. It was not an insane amount of money. It was enough money to put a down payment on a house, basically. And that's when I listened to my dad's advice. Right, he was like, "Look, you know, take this money and use it as a down payment on the house. Don't do anything crazy on the stock market and whatever." Like, I had friends. I had friends. Uh, I had a buddy of mine, who used to work for GeoCities, and he had gotten a bunch of shares in GeoCities. And then they got bought by Yahoo, and so he made a ton of money on that deal. And I told him at the time, "Dude, you should buy a house. You know, come live next to me, buddy. I'll help you shop for a house." And he was like, "No, I'm gonna put it in the stock market. Plus I want to buy a car." And so anyway, he spent his money in all kinds of different ways, and he lost most of it pretty quickly. When the dot-com bubble exploded, uh, a lot of his stock holdings just went to nothing. Um, and Yeah, so yeah, yeah. So the domain name was dreamlife.com. That was the domain name. And so I had bought it because at the time, I had some ideas of what I wanted to build around it. It's just, I was just kind of sitting on it, and I had a couple of hobby websites that was just kind of parked in there. Um, I was also hosting some friends' websites on it, and things like that. Um, and then I got a call out of the blue from, I don't know if you know who Tony Robbins is, but yeah. So he wanted to buy it from me. Um, and he was trying to claim that he had a trademark on it, but I hired a lawyer, and she told me she researched it, and she told me, no, he doesn't have a trademark at all, because there's no way he could get a trademark for it without actually owning the domain name in the first place. So he so I ended up kind of negotiating with him, and so I got a modest amount, but it was enough to make a down payment on a house. So yeah, no, I mean he's he's a great guy. So yeah, you know he's a sharp business dude. So yeah, I was just a young kid, and I just kind of held my own, held my ground, and so yeah, as I said earlier, I've had some really good luck in life, right? So that was, oh yeah, he definitely does. Like he knows what's up, right? So yeah, yeah, the whole story was just kind of wild. But yeah, and he ended up doing some interesting things with it. Um, Eventually, it just kind of fizzled out. But it's one of those things where in business you just kind of try things out. So, but yeah, it was phenomenal luck for me, and yeah, Jay, again, you probably have a point here. You know, there's, but yeah, if you do well in your career, and suddenly you get to a point where you make a smart move, and you know you manage to get your hands on an asset, and you're able to sell it for a good amount of money, then yeah, if you get a bag of cash at any given point, I do think real estate in the right place, I think, is a really good move, right? So the military, well, um, my dad served. He served in Vietnam. He was a lieutenant in the army, first lieutenant in the army in the 1/9th, the Cav, and he served in Vietnam. So he got Silver Star, Bronze Star, uh, Presidential Citation. He got a number of, like, I have all his medals here, and he's been through hell, and he came out of it. He, you know, he helped a lot of his men, his division. He kind of, took charge when others wouldn't, and to try to keep people alive. And he that's never something that he did recommend for me, though. He was like, yeah. Um, but yeah, like, my dad did ROTC in Berkeley, and then when Vietnam started, that's when he went there as a lieutenant. So I to each their own, and I think it's definitely a higher calling for sure. Like, you're definitely, it's the ultimate manifestation of serving your country for sure. Um, do I think it's the best use of your time? I don't. I would focus on developing skills and getting a job and kind of starting to earn your income, and becoming good at something, and developing a craft, working your way through corporate ladders, starting to earn money, putting money away. If you do 4 years in there, you're kind of delaying that. You're just kind of delaying that time frame. You know what I mean? So you'll come out of there, and then there's just 4 years of opportunities of professional growth that you will have sort of missed out on, I guess. Especially now that you have a college degree, uh, you're, if you have a sharp mind and you have a, college degree, you're already very desirable out there in the, corporate world, right? And so if you delay that by 4 years, you're definitely gonna miss out on opportunities to kind of earn income, like more significant income that you would get in the military. So UCLA, cool. Go Bruins. I did a little bit of time at USC myself, but I ran out of money, so I had to drop out, and I just kind of started, in the corporate world pretty early on, getting into software basically, and just kind of build my career up from there. I was kind of fortunate enough to, get into some internships, leading some freelance gigs, leading to some corporate gigs, basically, and just kind of build up my career from there. So, but you have a legitimate, undergrad degree from a reputable university, and so you should be already very sought after out there in the corporate world. And if I were you, I would definitely just try to, get my foot in the door anywhere, and start earning money, start putting money away, start growing skills, um, you know, build up your resume, like I worked my butt off, and it paid off, very nicely. Just um, definitely open up a LinkedIn profile if you don't already have one. LinkedIn.com. Definitely start your profile in there. Put your education on there. Publish your GPAs and any kind of extracurricular activities that you've been doing there. Start curating that LinkedIn profile, because there's just a lot of recruiters who are looking for talent, on there. So, get into all the job boards. So, anyway, I think there's 20,000 moves right now that you could be doing, before even thinking of the military. Again, I have full respect and admiration for all the good folks who do get in the military, for sure. Our country would not be what it is, without the military, for sure. So, but I do think that in your case, you have. It sounds to me like you have a lot of options, and so I would definitely kind of tap into those right now. I was pretty much out on my own and earning money at like 21, pretty much. You know, 21 years old, I was doing a little bit of, well, so while in the 2 years that I was in college, I was doing some freelance work on the side. I was doing some internships and some freelance work on the side. And then when I couldn't afford college anymore, um, and I had to drop out, so I started working at a small company in Santa Monica. I worked there for like a year and a half before it went under, and then I worked at another company after that for a short time. Uh, Hold on, my wife turned off the light. Turn off the light. I can't see. Um, and then when I was like, yeah, so 21 years old was a little bit of freelance, and then that small company in Santa Monica. And then 22, 23 years old, that's when I joined Earthlink as a web developer, kind of software engineer / web developer. Earthlink back in the day was one of the first internet service providers in the United States. So I worked there for a bunch of years. I think it was like 8 years. So just kind of built up my career from there. But yeah, I mean that's a nice, that's a nice thing when you're young, and you don't have people who depend on you, and you're pretty much only worried about paying your rent. It's like your overhead of living is pretty low, right? And you have a lot of time to yourself. So like me, I was spending all my time, just learning different technologies, right? So when I wasn't working my day job, in my off time, I was just kind of learning and studying, internet and web-based technologies, Unix operating systems, Linux. I was, building computers on the side. I was building servers. Um, I was, you know, learning different programming languages, you know, from like C, Java, you know, PHP. Yeah, like at 21, being on your own was, in a lot of ways, it was kind of liberating. I mean, dude, like I was renting. I found like a studio apartment in uh, I don't know if you know where Wilshire and La Brea is back in LA, but like one of those small streets off of Wilshire and La Brea, in that neighborhood, I found an apartment for like uh, it was a studio apartment for $500 a month, um, utilities included, and I had my old buddy and roommate from college move in with me. So he and I, we basically both lived in a studio apartment, sharing $500. So we paid $250 a month each for rent. So our overhead of living was like really, really low, right? Jay, yeah. Um, OpenAI, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, like all these. I'm in software, right? So like I've myself and my so I manage a small team, and we're all using AI to kind of help us solve problems faster, and it is absolutely a game changer. I mean, I think it's going to revolutionize a lot of things. Um, I think that absolutely all intellectual job. I mean, pretty much everything is going to be deeply impacted by AI, absolutely for sure. And the best thing you can learn how to do is pretty much whatever you work in, learn how to do it with AI, right? And it's not like don't learn the craft, learn the craft, but also learn how to be faster, more efficient by using AI. Um, because like the possibilities are endless. I mean, my team and I, like every day, we're discovering like new ways to make our job easier using AI. So, like myself, I have GitHub Copilot in all of my software programs, my software IDEs that I use to write code. Some other engineers on my team, they use Windsurf. Um, Windsurf is really impressive. Uh, the name of the company that does Windsurf, I forgot the name of it, but anyway, it's no, it's truly astounding. So, Jay, yeah, I'm sure it helped you in college. I think that colleges and professors are going to have to they're going to have to grapple with that. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be interesting. But yeah, like definitely always find ways to leverage AI to do anything that you do personally and professionally. Definitely professionally. So it'll make you instantly more productive. And if you don't, it means that you're going to lose your job to somebody else who does, right? And so it's sort of the new baseline, right? It's like a new baseline of productivity that is now expected pretty much everywhere. Um, when leveraging AI. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing time that we're in for sure. Like especially like for us Gen Xers, right? Like we've lived through like a wide gamut of technological evolutions, right? Like I mean, in our youth, we were still using rotary phones to make calls, and you know, using VHS tapes and all this stuff. And we've seen like everything evolve to like now you can make, you know, 4K videos on your phone. I mean, I remember what it was like to edit videos back in the days. I mean, it was just J Slice. Yeah, Windsurf by Codium. Yes, yes, that's exactly it. Windsurf by Codium. Yep. Yeah, that ID is absolutely astounding. Yeah, it's the best AI driven software engineering tool that I've seen out there so far. Uh, hey, no reply. Can you avoid spamming the channel? Like, Jay, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, if you think about it, like we you know we were out there in our sort of peak professional capacity, you know, when the internet was becoming popular, right? And we have lived through kind of every single one of those technological advances, you know, as our careers have progressed, and to you know, and to this day, we're still able to kind of make the most and understand all of this, especially in the context of everything else that came before us. Um, so yeah, we're you know we were kind of definitely fortunate there for sure. No reply. Well, sure, there's not many people here, but like anyway. Hey, Moran. But yeah, Jay, that's the biggest thing about being in your 20s right now, right? Like you can have a low overhead of living, and then you should have a fair amount of time on your hands to kind of learn all these things, right? Like back in the day, I was spending all of my spare times in my 20s just learning about all the technologies of the time. Um, and so now you have the ability to do the same thing, right? Um, with just a brand new set of technologies are you know exponentially more impactful than you know whatever we had to play with you know back in my day, right? Oh, generation Z 96 to 2010, so that would be my oldest daughter. my youngest daughter is just, I guess, just after that. So it's going to be interesting for them. By the time they hit the job market, I don't know what AI will have done to the world. You know what I mean? So like, I don't even know what college curriculums right now are doing to adapt to kind of what's going on in the world right now, and try to, help make students relevant out there in the marketplace. Um, I think that there's, there's going to be a lot of learning that just needs to happen on your own. But I mean, I think it's a pretty common thread, right? So like, back when I was getting into software in the mid to late 90s, I was messing with technologies that were not really taught in college, right? And so that's always a thing where, a college degree is going to, expose you to a lot of really valuable, bodies of knowledge. Um, and it doesn't necessarily mean that all of it is going to be directly applicable to, the job market. And I think that no matter what, you need to remain committed to learning things on your own, right? Jackson, I'll get right on that, buddy. Okay, APC. Moran. It looks like the dark abyss. Yeah. It's so dark in here. There are creatures in the trees behind me. APC, well, these streams are usually me working out. So that's the first hour and 40 minutes. And then after that, I just chat with people when I'm done. So most of the time I end the stream, I don't know, 10 minutes after the workout. But, sometimes like tonight, sometimes start chatting with a couple of people. So yeah. But yeah, every day I do work out with my punching bag, and so it's just cardiovascular exercise, and I just kind of stream for it. I just kind of stream it, and then I chat with people. That's right. Okay, PC. Thanks for the heads up, buddy. Jack of all traits. That's funny the way you spelled it, traits. Hey, Cabelra. And Jay, I mentioned earlier, about watching out your overhead of living, right? So, sure, I was on my own at 21 and all that stuff, but if you have family around, if you still have your parents and they're around, and you can live with them for a number of years, and you got a good relationship with them, and if you can land a corporate gig, uh, and then make a decent money, and then uh, follow the plan that we just discussed, kind of make smart moves with your money, and then save yourself a bunch of money on rent, right? If you can do that, um, I would recommend it. I mean, for sure. Like, you know, for me, living with my parents was not an option, because they're all in France, um, because that's where I was sort of born and raised. So it wasn't an option for me, but I do think it's a perfectly legitimate option to, you know, save money on rent. you know, like I think, I mean, obviously, eventually, when you know you're gonna date and bring people home, all that stuff. Obviously, you want to have some level of independence, and you don't want to subject your parents to all that stuff. But uh, you know, within some kind of equilibrium, I think it's definitely an option worth considering. You know, avoiding to pay rent, not having to pay rent is it's a huge amount of money. I mean, it's a huge amount of money that you could be putting in a place that will grow your net worth, right? Like according to the things that we just described, right? Like if I, imagine not having to spend, $1,500 a month on rent. Uh, i- Imagine what you could do with that money, right? So, yeah, we are, for sure. So I imagine your parents are Gen Xers, I guess, probably. Like, right, buddy. Well, I'm gonna call it a night. So, plus I gotta do some work. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. You too, buddy. Yeah. All right. Sure thing. All right. Have a good night.